guidance. We'll get rolling as soon as Instagram catches up with us here. So I hope you're all off to a good start. I think it's going to be a nice day. We'll see. Cooler. That's right up there on my list. All right, let's see. There we go. So, good morning. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. And we have some true words of wisdom today. We are looking at the research of Dr. Carol Dweck. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. Good morning, Abigail. Glad you're here. I love how you two tend to pop in right beside each other. Good morning, Gwen. Welcome. All the Facebook crowd is showing up, our group of practical rebels. And we'll see. Maybe Jonil is having issues with YouTube again. We shall see. Well, so that could be a new thing. Which platform does Jonil pop in on? Good morning, Christina. Glad you are here. Good morning. And Christina's on YouTube, so obviously it's working. So we shall see. And I think she has Kennedy today. So we'll see if Kenners joins us to learn a little bit about learning and mindset and how that impacts pretty much our entire lives, and that it is changeable. So that if you find, like I am very clear that I've had a fixed mindset for many years over many issues, especially over learning and again, viewing myself as the dumb sister, not the smart sister. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Beth. Welcome. So all opportunities for us to take a look at what's our old thinking, and is it stinking thinking, and do we need to get rid of it? Yep, there's Miss Jonil on Facebook. Good morning to you. Good morning to Kennedy if she's still with you. So this is opportunity. And in the course of looking at it as opportunity, you may also feel like it's difficulty, but that's okay. Because again, remember, an optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. A pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. We get to make the decision. So we are going a little further into Carol Dweck's mindset book. Subtitle is The New Psychology of Success: How We Can Learn to Fulfill Our Potential. But let's start with a little tapping and some breath. Good morning, Julia. Glad you are here. Welcome. This will get us into a frame of mind that allows us to take in as much of this information as we choose. We got to soak it up. We need to be a sponge. All right. Breath in, breath out. As I gag on my phlegm. Lovely. Breathe in. Breathe out. Aw, she is so cute. I think my granddaughter looks like the Gerber baby, that old-fashioned Gerber baby with the little dimples and the smile. Yeah. Breathe in. Breathe out. But I can't show you a picture of her because her mama does not want her on social media. So I'm more than willing to honor that. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more and hold at the top. Breathe in and out. Now just check in with yourself. What do you notice? Scan your body. I notice that my forearms feel highly energized. That's interesting. Not sure what that means, but I'm going to the gym today and they need to work. So hopefully that they'll stay energized when I'm attempting to make them do something. We'll see how it goes. So we have introduced Carol Dweck's concept of mindset, that what our mindset is, and it can be a very simple statement of I'm smart or I'm dumb, I can or I can't, that all that kind of stuff, and how that impacts what we're willing to try, how long we're willing to persevere, how we frame up what happens. If we're in a fixed mindset, oftentimes things get framed up as a failure and we stop. Good morning, Mel. Glad you are here. If we're in a growth mindset, again, kind of like that 10-year-old we talked about yesterday, who rubbed his hands in glee and said that he was hoping it was going to be challenging. He wanted to learn something. So let's go a little further today and see what you think. So for those of you who have the book, because I know some of you already do, we're on page 6. And the heading is, what does all this mean for you? The 2 mindsets. So I'm going to read for a bit and intersperse with some chatting. It's one thing to have pundits spouting their opinions about scientific issues. It's another thing to understand how these views apply to you. For 30 years, my research has shown that the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. Profoundly. Think about that. If you believe you can, you're going to keep trying. If you believe you can't, you're going to give up at the first hint of difficulty. All right? How does this happen? How can a simple belief have the power to transform your psychology and, as a result, your life? Believing that your qualities, whatever that is, whatever qualities you're looking at, are carved in stone, the fixed mindset, creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over. If you have only a certain amount of intelligence, a certain personality, and a certain moral character, well, then you better prove that you have a healthy dose of them. Sound familiar to anybody? It simply wouldn't do to look or feel deficient in these most basic characteristics. Now, this is Carol Dweck speaking for herself. Some of us are trained in this mindset from an early age. Even as a child, I was focused on being smart. But the fixed mindset was really stamped in by Mrs. Wilson, my 6th grade teacher. Unlike Alfred Binet, who was the one who created the intelligence test to survey students in the Paris school system to see who might need some extra assistance in learning, Mrs. Wilson believed that people's IQ scores told the whole story of who they were. We were seated around the room in IQ order. Oh my God, that makes me want to throw up right off the bat. Good Lord, Mrs. Wilson, what were you thinking? Give it a minute, we'll know what she was thinking. And only the highest IQ students could be trusted to carry the flag, clap the erasers, or take a note to the principal. Aside from the daily stomach aches she provoked with her judgmental stance, she was creating a mindset in which everyone in the class had one consuming goal: look smart, don't look dumb. Who cared about or enjoyed learning when our whole being was at stake every time she gave us a test or called on us in class? Now think about that. Think about your college years, those of you who went to college. How many, there was one young woman, every time we had a test and I walked out the door, she was standing there waiting for me to find out how I did, because she saw it as a competition. I did not. I saw it as we could work together and learn some things. And in fact, there was one point where my friend Dougie and I were studying together, and I just had the idea to put a bunch of this data into a table so I could keep it in my head. And so I showed Dougie my table, and so he memorized it too. And on that particular test, he beat the young woman who stood outside the classroom. She was fit to be tied. Well, and he enjoyed rubbing that in so much, which of course just entrenched her thought process even more fully. So, and I remember that there was that feeling of, we're learning to regurgitate this on a test. We're not learning to make this a part of our life, to make this useful to us down the road, right? And how many times with my children did I have to explain to them how something was going to be useful? Like geometry, I explained to my daughter, because she was a girly girl and she liked doing things like sewing and cooking and whatever, that geometry was a big part of sewing. And she was like, really? So we made a circle skirt. She got the idea. Excuse me. So I've seen so many people with this one consuming goal of proving themselves in the classroom, in their career, in their relationships. Every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, personality, or character. Every situation is evaluated. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? And then throw in the whole thing of nobody likes a smart girl. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So yeah, this whole thing needs to get chucked. Will I feel like a winner or a loser? But doesn't our society value intelligence, personality, and character? Isn't it normal to want these traits? Yes, but there's another mindset in which these traits are not simply a hand you're dealt and have to live with, always trying to convince yourself and others that you have a royal flush when you're secretly worried it's a pair of tens. In this mindset, the hand you're dealt is just the starting point for development. If someone would put that in the feed, I would greatly appreciate it. The hand you're dealt with is just the starting point for development. So here's the box of tools you've been given. Now, what will you do with it? This growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts, your strategies, and help from others, through taking classes, through reading books, through doing webinars, all the things, right? Although people may differ in every which way, in their initial talents and aptitudes, interests, or temperaments, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. Do people with this mindset believe that anyone can be anything, that anyone with proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? No, but they believe that a person's true potential is unknown and unknowable. And I laughed when I read that because I went back to the ruins that my friend Kathy was pulling for all of us over the weekend. And my last ruin, the one about what's going to take care of this, how is this going to unfold kind of thing, was the unknown, as was hers. And she and I are probably the two in the group who have that more fixed mindset. Thank you, Gwen. I appreciate it. It's impossible to foresee what can be accomplished with years of passion, toil, and training. Did you know that Darwin and Tolstoy were considered average children? That Ben Hogan, one of the greatest golfers of all times, was completely uncoordinated and graceless as a child, etc., etc. You can see how the belief that cherished qualities can be developed creates a passion for learning. You can become the lifelong learner when you realize that putting the effort into that stuff yields results, moves you off of where you are, closer to where you want to get to, all right? Why waste time proving over and over how great you are when you could be getting better? Why hide deficiencies instead of overcoming them? Why look for friends or partners who will just shore up your self-esteem, the yes men, the yes women, instead of ones who will also challenge you to grow? And why seek out the tried and true instead of experiences that will stretch you? The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset. Let me read that again. The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset. This is the mindset that allows people to thrive through some of the most challenging times in their life. Now, does this mean you're one or the other? No, you can have a blend of both. My blend of both is I will initially do the 1 minute white hot pity party into, oh, I failed. Oh, I suck eggs. Oh, whatever. And then I'm like, okay, what do I got to do to fix this? So I kind of have a mix of both at this point in time. And the time span spent in the, oh, is getting shorter. So she wants to give us an example of this kind of differential mindset and what the implications are. So she calls this part a view from the two mindsets. To give you a better sense of how the two mindsets work, imagine as vividly as you can that you are a young adult having a really bad day. One day you go to a class that is really important to you and that you like a lot. The professor returns the midterm papers to the class. You got a C+. You're very disappointed. That evening on the way back to your home, you find that you've gotten a parking ticket. Being really frustrated, you call your best friend to share your experience, but are sort of brushed off. What would you think? What would you feel? What would you do? When I asked people with the fixed mindset, this is what they said. I'd feel like a reject. I'm a total failure. I'm an idiot. I'm a loser. I feel worthless and dumb. Everyone's better than me. I'm slime. That's a really intense one. In other words, they see what happened as a direct measure of their competence and their worth. This is what they think about their lives. My life is pitiful. I have no life. Somebody upstairs doesn't like me. The world is out to get me. Someone is out to destroy me. Nobody loves me. Everybody hates me. Life is unfair and all efforts are useless. Life stinks. I'm stupid. Nothing good will ever happen to me. I'm the most unlucky person on this earth. And then she replies to that, excuse me, was there a death and destruction or just a grade, a ticket, and a bad phone call? But again, now notice, if you have a person who is of the growth mindset and they hear someone doing this, I'm slime, they're going to have a hard time relating to that. And sometimes when they attempt to help lift the person who believes they're slime out of their slime, it's not received real well. It's not received real well because this person is entrenched in this mindset. So the effort can be toward adjusting the mindset and see what happens with that. So let's see here. Are these just people with low self-esteem or card-carrying pessimists? No. When they aren't coping with failure, they feel just as worthy and optimistic and bright and attractive as people with the growth mindset. It's when they're under pressure, when they're experiencing difficulty, when they bump into a seeming obstacle, that's when all this stuff rears its ugly head. Okay? So how would they cope? Here are their answers. I wouldn't bother to put so much time and effort into doing well in anything. In other words, don't let anyone measure me again. Do nothing, stay in bed, get drunk, eat, yell at someone if I get a chance to, eat chocolate, listen to music and pout, go into my closet and sit there, pick a fight with somebody, cry, break something. What is there to do? What is there to do? You know, when I wrote the vignette, I intentionally made the grade a C+, not an F. It was a midterm rather than a final. It was a parking ticket rather than a car crash. They were sort of brushed off, but not rejected outright. So it's not like these were all major on the continuum. They were kind of middling on the continuum. Nothing catastrophic or irreversible happened. Yet from this raw material, the fixed mindset created the feeling of utter failure and paralysis. When I gave the people with the growth mindset the same vignette, here's what they said. They'd think, I need to try harder in class. I need to be more careful parking the car. And I wonder if my friend had a bad day. The C+ would tell me I have to work a lot harder in the class, but I have the rest of the semester to pull up my grade. There were many, many more like this, but I think you get the idea. Now, how would they cope? Directly. I'd start thinking about studying harder or studying in a different way for my next test in that class. I'd pay the ticket, and I'd work things out with my best friend the next time we spoke. I'd look at what was wrong on my exam, resolve to do better, pay my parking ticket, and call my friend to tell her I was upset the day before. I'd work hard on my next paper, speak to the teacher, be more careful where I parked or contest the ticket, and find out what's wrong with my friend. You don't have to have one mindset or the other to be upset. Who wouldn't be? Things like a poor grade or a rebuff from a friend or loved one, these are not fun events. No one was smacking their lips with relish. Ooh, I enjoy getting a parking ticket. Yet these people with the growth mindset were not labeling themselves and throwing up their hands. Even though they felt distressed, they were ready to take the risks, confront the challenges, and keep working on them. So there's the place I'm going to stop. But I want you to be thinking about, and again, don't freak out if you're seeing yourself in the fixed mindset. I see myself there. Carol Dweck saw herself there. That doesn't mean anything other than, gee, we might want to take a look at that mindset and do what we can on a conscious level to change it. And for coaches who do energy work, we can change that on a subconscious mind level as well, which in my way of thinking is far more important, because your subconscious mind, again, let's go back to our iceberg analogy. We haven't done that in a while. The iceberg's floating along in the sea of awareness. The iceberg is your awareness. Whatever's above the level of the water, that's what you're aware of. Whatever's below the water level is your subconscious mind, what you're not aware of. It is estimated that your conscious mind is 5% of your total consciousness. Subconscious mind is 95% of your consciousness. So we really want to have tools for reaching that subconscious mind and changing it there. So who is it on? I'm not a Saturday Night Live person because it's way past my bedtime. Was it Stuart Smalley who did the whole litany of I'm smart, whatever, and gosh darn it, I like myself? That's the conscious mind. Conscious mind isn't going to override all that subconscious stuff. You need the tools to shift the subconscious mind. Lots of tools out there. Lots of tools out there. Tapping is a tool, right? Psych K, which is one of my favorites, is a tool. You need to have some tools for shifting that stuff on the subconscious level. But even just having this awareness about the mindsets and where you feel like you fall currently can help you on a conscious level catch things when you see it coming out of your mouth. Did I just say that? Did I just say I'm going to go home and pout? Okay, all right. Let's see what else we can come up with to do for this. And sometimes it does take a little while, even a day or two, to regroup and come up with your plan for how you're going to address what you're framing as a failure. If you frame it as a learning opportunity, what am I going to get out of this? It was unpleasant, it was not fun, but what can I learn from this moving forward? You're putting yourself in an excellent position. Okay? So that is our learning for today. Have an awesome Thursday. Tomorrow morning is way early because it's Scarlet Day. So we'll see some of you tomorrow. Some of you will see me in the replay. And then Saturday Saturday, we may not have one. You might need to go back to the archives and pick one out to rewatch because Lauren and Derek have a wedding. So I'll be staying over to babysit Miss Scarlett on Saturday night. So we'll be back again. Let's see. What about Sunday? The weekend is a crapshoot. We'll see if I'm here or not. If not, go back and grab an old one that resonates for you. And for sure on Monday, we'll be back bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Have an awesome weekend. Bye-bye.